Welcome to Undefiled. This isn't for the highlight reel. This is for the ones who are tired but still standing. For the ones building in silence while everybody else is chasing the light. We don't do hype. We don't do performance. We do resolve. I'm Nicola, and this is the truth you've been looking for. Let's talk. Nobody claps for consistency. Let that sit in your ears for a second. We live in a world that is addicted to the tada moment. We love the reveal. We love the before and after. We love the 60-second reel that compresses 3 years of sweat into an upbeat montage. But we have a profound collective amnesia regarding the drink. Nobody applauds you for waking up at 5 a.m. for the 400th day in a row. Nobody reposts the fact that you sat in silence and prayed when you felt like screaming. Nobody throws a confetti parade because you kept your word to yourself when it would have been easier to lie. We celebrate breakthroughs, big wins, and grand announcements. But nobody claps for the 1,000 quiet days that built the breakthrough. And here's why that's dangerous. We've been biologically and socially rewired to associate value with visibility. We've been trained to believe that if it isn't seen, it isn't significant. If nobody likes it, we feel like it didn't happen. So when you're in that middle space, when you're doing the right thing in the dark, staying disciplined when the house is quiet, staying faithful when your heart feels like lead and nothing is changing on the outside, you start to suffer from what I call the fatigue of the unseen, the anatomy of the slippage. You don't usually quit loudly. You don't stand up and announce, I am giving up on my integrity today. No, you just start slipping. You start compromising in the margins. Not because you're a rebel, but because you're exhausted from being unnoticed. You're tired of the boredom of the better. Because let's be honest, consistency is boring. It doesn't feel powerful. It feels like a loop. Wake up, pray, work. Say no to that temptation. Do the right thing. Go to bed. Repeat. There's no highlight reel. There's just discipline. And discipline doesn't trend. We reward moments. But your life is built on maintenance. A marriage isn't saved by one expensive anniversary trip. It's saved by 3,000 daily decisions to show respect when you're annoyed. A business isn't built by one viral post. It's built by the years you spent fulfilling orders in a garage when your following was just your mom and your best friend. There's an ancient warning. Let us not grow weary in doing good. That warning exists because doing good is the most exhausting thing on earth when it goes unacknowledged. Nobody gets tired of doing wrong. The adrenaline of the wrong provides its own spark. But we get tired of doing right without results. But consistency is the ultimate proof of conviction. Anyone can be intense for a week. Anyone can be on fire for a season. But staying steady when the room is cold and the lights are off, that's character. And character doesn't scream, it forms in the silence. Let's talk about why consistency feels like a desert. It's because there's no dopamine hit. There's no sudden surge of validation. It's just effort meeting resistance day after day. And while you're grinding, you see someone else post their overnight breakthrough. You see the engagement, the promotion, the God did it moment. And your heart whispers, I've been doing the right thing too. Where's my moment? Comparison is the thief of consistency. Comparison demands speed, but consistency demands depth. Think about a tree. We admire the branches, but nobody claps for the roots. The roots are ugly, they're covered in dirt, and they move slowly. But Psalm 1 tells us the person who stays planted in the truth is like a tree by the water. They bring forth fruit in their season. We want the fruit, but we hate the season. We hate the covered in dirt part. But you have to understand, your height is strictly limited by your depth. If you haven't been faithful in the little secret places, you aren't ready for the much of the public stage. Matthew 25 is clear. The promotion follows the faithfulness in the small, boring, uncelebrated things. Here is the shift. Consistency isn't about intensity, it's about identity. When you stop doing the right thing for applause and start doing it because it is who you are, you become dangerous. You don't need a crowd to stay disciplined if discipline is your DNA. You don't brush your teeth because you're inspired to do it. You do it because it's a non-negotiable part of your existence. Imagine if your integrity was that automated. Steady wins wars. Galatians 6 gives us the math. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. The harvest is a certainty. The only variable is your weariness. A canyon isn't created by an explosion, it's carved by a river. Water isn't stronger than rock. Water is just more consistent than rock. Stop measuring your growth by the noise. Measure it by your alignment. Are you becoming a person who can't be moved? That is the real breakthrough. I want to talk directly to the person who is quietly exhausted. You're still showing up, but the pilot light is flickering. You're holding the line, but you're wondering if it even matters. This is where the enemy whispers about shortcuts. This is where you start thinking, maybe I should cut a corner. Maybe I should loosen the standard. Hear me, consistency isn't tested when things are working. It is tested when it feels pointless. There is a massive chasm between motivation and conviction. Motivation is a feeling. It leaves when it gets cold. Conviction is a decree. 1 Corinthians 15 tells us to be steadfast and immovable. That means you don't change with the weather. You don't shift with the opinions of others. When you are consistent, you have graduated from the school of how I feel to the academy of what I decided. That is true freedom. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you are laying a brick. It might not look like a palace yet, but 1 Peter 5 promises that after you've endured a little while, God Himself will strengthen, settle, and establish you. You cannot be established if you are constantly moving. You cannot be strengthened if you never face resistance. The grind isn't in the way of the work. The grind is the work. Nobody claps for consistency. But heaven is leaning over the balcony. Think about Daniel. The Bible says he resolved in his heart that he would not defile himself. He didn't have a moment of inspiration. He had a lifetime of resolve. That is what it means to be undefiled. It's the decision to remain uncorrupted by the need for attention. It is the decision to stay steady in a world that is spinning out of control. One day people will call your success sudden. They won't see the 4 a.m. prayers. They won't see the no you said to temptation when nobody was looking. But you will know, and God will know. The life you build in the secret place is the only life that will stand in the public place. Stay steady, stay resolved, stay undefiled. I'll talk to you next time.